So let me say this. Wanting something more does not mean that you made the wrong choice staying home. It does not mean you're ungrateful. It does not mean anything is wrong with your life. It just means you've grown. And your current day doesn't fully match who you are anymore. And that's it. Hi, I'm Carrie, and this is the Back to Work podcast. If you've been home with your kids and you're starting to think about going back to work but have no idea where to start, you are in the right place. Because this isn't just about getting a job. It's about figuring out what's next and how to actually move forward. I've spent 20 years in HR, and I was a stay-at-home mom for 8 years before going back myself. Each week, I'll help you go from I don't know where to start to I start tomorrow. And if you want a little extra support, check out the Start Here guide in the show notes. It's a simple plan to help you get back to work. Welcome to Back to Work, the podcast for moms who want to go back to work but aren't quite sure where to start. If you have been feeling off lately, like you should be doing more but you just aren't, this episode is for you. Because I want to say something that might feel a little weird, but also a little relieving. You are not unmotivated. You are overwhelmed, but not in the way you think. So let me paint a picture and just see if this feels familiar. Your day is full, right? Like objectively full. You're constantly doing things. You're packing lunches, answering questions, picking things up, putting things away, starting something, getting interrupted, forgetting what you were doing, starting over. And yet, at the end of the day, it somehow feels like you didn't do anything, or at least nothing that counts in your mind. Nothing that feels satisfying, nothing that makes you think, "Oh, that was a good day." And instead of questioning the structure of your day, you question yourself. Why can't I just get it together? Why am I so unmotivated? Why does everything feel harder than it should? So naturally, your brain goes to, I must not be doing enough. I must be lazy. So no, that is not what's happening. Here's what's actually going on. You are carrying a constant mental load with zero completion. And your brain is not wired for that. You're making decisions all day long. Tiny ones, constant ones, bigger ones, what to cook, what to clean, what to prioritize, what to respond to, what to ignore, what to remember later. And none of it really ends. It just loops. And when your brain doesn't get that sense of completion, it starts to feel like you're stuck, even if you've been moving all day. But then we layer something else on top of that. You tell yourself you used to be good at things that had clear outcomes. You used to finish things. You used to solve problems. You used to have conversations that went somewhere. You could point to something and say, I did that. And now you have wins, but they're more invisible. And more importantly, they reset every 24 hours. And that really messes with your brain more than you realize. Because it's not just about being busy, it's about not feeling effective. So what do? You assume the fix is more structure, better routines, waking up early, getting more organized, maybe squeezing in some self-care. And I'm not against any of that. But let's be honest, you've probably tried some version of that already, and it didn't really fix the feeling. Maybe it helped for a minute, but that low-level something's off feeling, it's still there. That's because this isn't just about being overwhelmed. It's about misalignment. And I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but hear me out. Your life right now requires a version of you that is constantly reacting. But you're someone who used to create, decide, build, finish. That part of you didn't disappear. It just has nowhere to go. So now it shows up as restlessness, irritation, scrolling your phone just to feel something different, zoning out, snapping at people faster than you used to. Not because you're a bad person or a bad mom, not because you're ungrateful, but because part of you is underused. And here's the thought that tends to sneak in next. I think I want something more. And the second that thought shows up, your brain shuts it down immediately because more feels like a domino effect you're not ready for. More equals work. Work equals childcare. Childcare equals logistics. logistics equals stress, and stress equals what if this makes everything worse? So instead, you shrink the thought. It's just a phase. I'm just tired. I just need a reset. But that feeling doesn't go away. It just hangs out in the background. So let me say this. Wanting something more does not mean that you made the wrong choice staying home. It does not mean you're ungrateful. It does not mean anything is wrong with your life. It just means you've grown. And your current day doesn't fully match who you are anymore. And that's it. Now, here's the part where most people jump too far too fast. They go straight to, I should get a job. What should I do? What should I get? And that's where everything starts to feel overwhelming again, because now you're thinking about resumes, interviews, explaining the gap, figure out what you even want. And your brain goes, nope, absolutely not. Too much. So you shut it down again and stay exactly where you are. But there's a middle space that no one talks about. You don't have to jump straight into job searching. You don't have to overhaul your life. You don't even have to decide anything right now. You just need to understand what's happening. Because once you see that clearly, everything starts to feel a little less heavy, a little less confusing, and a little more solvable. That's the shift I want for you from this episode. No action, no pressure, just awareness. Like, this isn't just random, or this actually makes a lot of sense, or maybe I'm not the problem, because you're not. So if you're sitting there thinking, all right, this really does sound like me. I do have something simple you can use if you want a little bit of direction. It's called the Start Here Guide. It helps you get clear on what direction even makes sense for you right now. How to take what you've been doing at home and turn it into something that you can put on a resume. How to talk about your time away from work without really overthinking it. And you can go through it in about 10 minutes. It's nothing big. It's nothing overwhelming. It's just a way for you to take that first step if you're ready for it. So if even a small part of you is thinking about that, just go grab it. It's easy. And just let yourself be curious instead of overwhelmed. Because you are not broken. You are just in a phase that no one has explained to you. And now, at least you know. And that is where everything starts to shift. All right, I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for being here. If this episode helped you, make sure to follow the show, share it with someone who needs it, and leave a quick review. I appreciate you more than you know.